an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 7, The Red Sowing. In this episode, dragons are scary, y'all. Dragons are that was like a horror movie part of this. It was a lot of screaming, burning. Welcome to Unspoiled. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
I'm Rashawn.
All right. So, this episode, finally, the culmination of our
harebrained
Targaryen, like, bastard characters that have been sort of introduced in the wings in this weird way. What did you feel about this episode?
I really enjoyed this episode. I did.
Nice.
I got the things I was looking to get.
What were you looking to get?
Well, like our small folk people that we had been keeping an eye on. We knew where this was going, but wasn't sure how it was going to play. I even said in a previous episode talking about Hugh, like thinking that he would be one, but not being able to figure out how he gets to Dragonstone. Like, how does that even get on his radar?
Yeah.
So the way that was handled, even though I laughed a lot at the bar scene because
with all his friends.
Yeah.
It was really giving Ted Lasso. Is
And then also I kept thinking to myself, like, this is supposed to be sort of subterfuge, right? And they're just yelling out about being dragon riders in the fucking bar in King's Landing where like a gold cloak could have been drinking in the corner, you know? Like,
yeah, I also had a lot of questions about that. It really felt like maybe it's supposed to be that Aemond is so ignoring the little people, and that's meant to be like part of how bad he is at this.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
But I feel like I'm really headcanoning that, so I don't know.
I just thought that was like, guys, please, show some, not decorum, but some discretion.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So let's actually start from the beginning here. We are at the meeting of the dragons. It's Rhaenyra v. Alan and
Adam.
Thank you. I was saying it and I knew I was wrong as I said it, and I was like, ugh, well, there it is. But I really enjoyed, there was a meme that I posted that was basically like these dragons are just like, hey, see smoke. And I like it because they do a lot of sounds this episode. Like all the dragons have a lot of screen time and they all make a lot of noise. Yeah.
I loved how much dragon we got this episode.
Yeah.
It was just like getting to see them, this scene on the beach, even with the way that they follow their two riders, like, and getting like this close up of Rhaenyra's dragon and watching him like plod along in the sandbar, dragging the wings. I don't know. It was just super fucking cool. But, this moment with Alan and Rhaenyra, she is like already, she's like on her way to 100, Who the fuck are you? Where'd you come from? And what are you doing with my goddamn dragon? Like, she's ready for it to be the worst news. And then he's just like, first of all, this dragon came and got me, right? Like, he was like, I didn't claim shit. I was claimed. And I'm on your side. And this look she gives him when it like registers for her.
Yeah.
Like, but he doesn't say who his father is.
No. What do you think of that?
I guess I get it. he doesn't want to blow his pop spot up like that, I suppose.
I guess.
And I guess that really tells us also maybe even he is hyper aware that his brother doesn't want anybody to know. Right. So I was like, maybe it's not necessarily about blowing up Corliss's spot, but he doesn't want to blow up his brother's spot because his brother is not ready for that information to be well known.
Yeah.
And we saw last week the lengths that he goes to with the shaving of his silver hair. So I was like, maybe it's that. But I thought I was fully expecting him to be like, and my father is Corliss. So we could have like a dun 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 kind of moment and watch Rhaenyra's face get all wide, but that's not what we get at all.
No, it was sort of odd to me. I really feel like there's got to be some sort of explanation. But Corliss is like not friendly with him at all either. Like it doesn't really acknowledge him. He mentions his brother, but never says like my son or you, like anything about her mother. He talks about the fact that his mother must have some Targaryen in her, perhaps.
That scene was very weird, right? Because Corliss says, "I never really asked much about your mother. I didn't know anything about where she comes from." And he says, but if it's in the blood, to which Alan replies, right? What does Alan say? He says something like, he talks about how Adam has always been searching for purpose and looking for a greater, thing in his life to make him worthy. I am salt and sea. So initially, my read on that was like, is Corliss trying to suggest that this dragon riding is coming from the mother's side of
That's
the
what
family?
it felt like to me, and I don't really understand why. Like, I just had assumed that the Valerians and the Targaryens interbred enough that the Valerians have just as much of an ability as the Targaryens at this point.
Exactly.
And I guess I'm wrong about that.
I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to it because I want to remember exactly how it goes. I don't want to misspeak. Yeah. But I did have that same moment of confusion that you're describing. But then there was something about, I don't know, we'll see it when we get to it, but there was something that Corliss says that kind of made me feel, he says he addresses the Valerian Targaryen connection at the beginning of his conversation with Alan, but I can't remember exactly what he says. So, All
right. Well, we'll wait until we actually get there.
Yeah.
But as we have said, the conversation here is very like contentious at first before she realizes what's happening is exactly what she wanted, and it's like she can't quite bring herself to believe it because it's just too perfect.
It's almost too convenient, right?
Yeah.
And he says, I may appear to be lowborn, but I know much of service. And he also says, if the gods have called me to greater things, who am I to refuse? That's a bar.
I mean, that's the way to say it. I like it. So we go then over to Alicent, who has one of the weirder plot beats in this episode. She has a slice on her arm from the altercation in the riot. And the maester is treating it, just mentions that she'll have a scar, but it'll be something that she can hide really easily. And she looks around and she says, nothing is clean here. And we see a rat on one of the tables.
Yeah.
Which I guess is meant to be like, you killed all the fucking rat catchers, my friends. So now what? That's what I'm assuming. And she kind of says like nothing is clean with a little smile on her face, like she's gotten an idea. And she goes out to Sir Rickard, who is an actor that was pointed out by Austin Arminio in the group. he plays Garp in the live action One Piece,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I did not even see his face in the last episode, so I was not noticing this at all. And this dude, he's still quite good looking, but he was really something at one point. If you ever want to look him up, damn.
Really?
Yeah. And when she says she wants to go out into the Kingswood, he's like, all right, well, I'll get a retinue. And she's like, no. And he's like, well, then handmaidens? And she says, no, just you.
Yeah.
And there's a real vibe to him here and later of something isn't right. And I am stuck and I don't know what I am going to do or be expected to do. He just seems really like, I don't like this,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't know if he would be held responsible or anything I have to assume that he would because the place is unfair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just what I am figuring.
Yeah. I want to say that when she says the line about how nothing here is clean, she's like including herself in that.
Right?
Yeah. I'm going to be not necessarily projecting, but I'm going to be putting a lot of words in Allison's mouth because she doesn't actually say any of these things. But like, there's talk of how she doesn't know like what her place is here. Like, you know, she's done her duty and none of it matters now. She's been cast aside. And it feels very much like she feels used.
Yeah.
And tossed out in a very, I mean that like in a very kind of like thrown out like trash, you know, used up and tossed like trash kind of way, both politically, maybe she's feeling that way sexually with Kristen Cole, the way her father used her, the way Viserys used her to bear him children, like just all of it, the way her, and this desire to escape King's Landing to try to figure out who she is if she's not all of those things that she has been telling herself she was all these years. This poor Kingsguard, though, you're right. Like, she's out camping in the woods, and if something were to go amiss, it would be a whole lot of, what did you think you were doing? You went without my leave. Who gave you permission? And, you know, I did watch, and I usually don't, but I did watch after the episode.
You did this time. I was wondering about that.
I did.
Okay.
And mostly because I got distracted and just let it keep playing. And when I looked up, it was on. And I don't remember everything they talked about because I was distracted. But the one piece I did catch was them saying the moment when she's in the lake, the producers or showrunner, whoever was speaking, was saying that was supposed to be a moment where we weren't sure whether or not she wanted to even continue living.
Yeah. That's how I took it.
Did you take it that way? I'm going to be completely honest. I did not feel that. I felt a lot of like introspection and reflection, but I never for a second thought like, is she just going to like fucking stay under that water? Like,
yeah, I think that it's like the visual shorthand reminded me very much of the paintings of Ophelia from that Shakespeare play that I can't remember. Is it Hamlet? Who kills herself. She drowns. And it's been depicted a lot of places and it's got like a real look to it every time. And this just reminded me so much of that even if they hadn't intended it, that's probably what I would have seen just because of that association, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I can't say that I know offhand. I mean, I probably have seen it, but don't know it. Like, I can't picture it in my head right now.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different depictions of it, but now I'm going to look up who Ophelia, Drowning of Ophelia. Hamlet. It is Hamlet, yeah. And just looking at this, there's so many different depictions of it just from this like quick search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was done intentionally.
I feel like it had to have been.
Yeah.
I feel like it had to have been. Like, I'll send you this search link and you can see for yourself how similar the whole depiction is. And how different can you make it to a degree if they're all going to be wearing like undershifts, white gowns, in water, long hair? It's always going to have a certain similarity to each other. But
oh yeah, look at this. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm so uncultured.
Listen, no, I haven't even read Hamlet, so it's fine.
Okay, so I don't know the art, but I can say I've read Hamlet. So all right.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
So then we go to Larys and Ironrod watching these guys get sentenced to the wall, and these are 2 Kingsguard that are being held responsible for how everything went so left when Helena and Alicent were at the Sept.
I kind of feel bad for him because like these dudes are just, they shouldn't have had this job to begin with.
These are Aegon's homies, right?
I think so, yeah.
Just so unprepared and should not have been in there. And the way they yanked those cloaks off.
They are just in disgrace.
It is
aggressive. Yeah.
I was on the couch like, well, goddamn. This was like absolutely meant that shit. And Ironrod is telling Larys that, what's his name? Jasper. I'm gonna have to call him Jasper. I cannot keep saying Ironrod, y'all. It's just not. I can't do it.
The Ironrod, the fucking baby maker machine.
Fucking
evidently. I was so sure it had to be Ironwood last episode. And everybody came out to tell me it was Ironrod and then explain why. And I was like, whoa, hey, George, why did you do this?
Big Dick Jasper, what they used to call him.
Oh, man.
But he has got the scoop. He's got the fucking scoop of the century.
Yeah.
But it's on some, my friend heard from my friend's cousin whose hairdresser used to date a guy, it's on that. So Larys is just like, why don't you just sit on that for now?
Keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah. And he went at first, he wants Larys to tell him, and Larys is just like, well, I'm sure you want to be the one to give the news because that way you can get the credit for the intel.
Yeah, what do you think? Is that like him just trying to be like, I don't want this unvalidated shit coming from my mouth, so I'm trying to set you up? Is that what he was doing here? Because I couldn't quite tell.
If I'm not mistaken, initially, as soon as, because the first bit is he comes right out with like, there's word that sea smoke has been flying. And this is before Larys knows what the source of the information is. Right. He tells Larys he smokes spotted with a rider, but we don't know who the rider is. And Larys is like, and I guess you want to tell Aemon so you can get some favor. And he's like, actually, I thought you might tell him. And Larys is like, a word? He's like, yeah, because, whispers are your jam. And
he's going to feel real silly shortly for not sharing this.
And he tells him, he was like, Larys says, but this is not my intel. This is your intel, so you should tell him. Mm-hmm. So Larys like declines taking this information to Aemon even before he finds out how like suspect the source is.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting because it had appeared, I think Larys after the way Aemon spoke to him, and then this other shit that we see going on with Aegon, I think Larys just might be like, I'm not helping Aemon with shit.
I kind of think that's it.
Fuck that dude.
Yeah, I think that he is just like, this guy is extremely dangerous in a way that is like, Larys is dangerous, but it doesn't feel like he is exactly cruel, or he's doing things for the sake of his ambition in a very direct, like,
yes,
he's not cause and effect sort of
he's
way.
Not
it's
cruel
not
for the sake of cruelty. Like, he can be cruel, but it's always in service to his ends. You know, I agree with you.
So I think that he sees the way that Aemon behaves as particularly dangerous, because it's motivated by such personal, emotional places that it's not going to ultimately, go where we need to go with it.
Yep. And that Aemon is not going to be able to be controlled in the way that Larys is used to manipulating people.
Yeah.
So I feel like Larys has decided that I'm just going to maybe stay out of his way a little bit. Because I don't know how to move this guy. I don't know how to maneuver this guy around, and he's too volatile, too immature. To your point, wildly emotionally unstable, and dangerous. So he's just like, nah, you can tell him, but and fine. He says the line is, you can tell him and find favor for yourself. And then is like, all right, but who's the writer? Where'd you get this information from? And that's when we find out that it is just
telephone.
It is a game of telephone.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because he's right, though.
Oh, he's totally right. Yeah. It's really like, I almost appreciated getting to see this moment because it let me know that Larys isn't just out here trying to throw everybody under the bus. There is, there are times where I'm just like, he always wants to make himself look good, and it doesn't matter at whose expense. So sending somebody in there with some information that he thinks is definitely like not really substantiated, that would support that he wants to just fuck somebody. But the fact that he is like, hey, maybe just sit on that, makes me feel like, okay, maybe he gives a shit a little bit more than I really thought he did,
And I wonder if I might be giving Larys too much credit, which who would have thought that would ever be a thing I would do. But I'm wondering if he's anticipating what Aemon's reaction would be to this news and how he might fly off the handle and do something irrational. And that Larys...
Sorry, flying off the handle because he's on a dragon.
Oh.
Which he does do later.
He does do later. But Larys understands that that's dangerous to the overall mission that they have of like the Greens advancing and winning the throne.
Yeah.
And doesn't, and it's like, you're right, he could have thrown Jasper to the wolves and sent him in there and like gas his head up and be like, oh no, you should absolutely go tell him. Like, tell him right away. It's going to be great for you. Because that would trigger Aemon into doing something that would be ultimately detrimental.
Right.
So yeah, Larys is thinking, even though I don't like him, don't like to give him any credit, he is thinking like long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I said he doesn't do things to be cruel, but he had her jerk off just because he liked having control over her, or he jerked off to her feet. So I have to take it back. I actually stop and think about it.
Yeah, I guess Why am I'm hesitating. I'm not sure why though. I have to mull that over.
Yeah.
I have to mull that over because I think for me, I'm making it unfair. I'm drawing maybe an unfair line around what constitutes cruelty. And I think I might need to interrogate that a little bit, because I think of that moment. I think because Alicent this is a weird fucking thing to rehash, but Alicent participated in that,
right?
To get her own, to get what she wanted, even though she claimed to it not to be like, whatever. She got into this deal with this devil, and it served her purposes. And so I think there's a part of me that is being like, it's not the same as forcing someone to show your feet, so I can jerk off.
Because it's transactional.
Right?
But he could have asked for like anything, money.
Yeah, but he asked for what he wanted. That's what a transaction is. You get what you want, true. And I get what I want. You don't get to say what I want. You know what I mean? So,
but he got off on it because he knew how much he hated it.
That's why I have to like kind of interrogate it, because then he if we're going with the premise that his kink in that is not the foot but the humiliation, then that's a whole different fucking twist.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's something to think about. I don't have all the answers. I have to, I could come up 2 hours after we're done recording with like a brilliant thought and be like, oh, that's what I meant. That's what my brain was like trying to get to, but just didn't get to it in time on the show. So they the way that they're hustling these guys off to the wall, I thought the wall is already at this point in history prison sentence. Like right. The honor of it is already being diminished at this time in history, 170 odd years before Game of Thrones. And all I could think was, these bumbling assholes are now going to just be bumbling up in the cold. Like, they're going to go be somebody else's problem now.
Indeed. You are correct, madam. Yeah, it's really frustrating. Like, I get the use of it as a punishment, but considering how important their job is, it really is revealing at this point how much they have slid into just sending them whatever fuck ups they've got,
And this is a time of dragons where magic is still in this world. And we had the Kragan Stark thing at the very beginning of the season talking about how important and noble the work of the wall is and keeping, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was just a little jarring to be like, oh shit, we're doing that now. Okay. I guess this is the start of the slow decline of the wall.
Indeed. All right. So the next scene is the meeting of the minds with the council, the Black Council, and Jace getting very upset at hearing the potential of us letting just anybody try and fly a dragon.
Yeah.
And I didn't really consider the way that he was going to see this. And I should have. What do you think about this?
It's an interesting, everybody is up in an uproar. They come in with news that Rhaenyra is fine and that she's met the rider and that he's a shipwright. One of Lord Corliss's men, and Jace is just in the background at first, just sort of fucking seething. Yeah. Just glaring. He's doing, he's just making faces, making a lot of different faces.
He's always serving face.
and there's like some people people are, saying whatever they're saying about it. And then, he comes out with this, is it Jace that says, oh, we're just going to let lowborns just be dragon riders now? Oh, wait, no, it's not.
Mongrels.
That's later. In this scene, it's the same guy that got smacked last week. The lowborn cannot go around seizing dragons, the old man says. And Jason's still just in the background chilling. He hasn't said shit yet. And the old man is just like, he's a thief. Has he been arrested? And the knight has to say, no. He's here at the castle, and he's going to be instructed to learn High Valyrian and how to ride a fucking dragon. And then we get like a series of boos and hisses.
Oh my gosh. That is weird, though.
And yeah, the old man's name is Bartimos. I can't keep forgetting it because he's such a fucking knob.
He is a knob. That's a good use of that word.
And Corliss has to just be like, we're going to just wait for the fucking queen to tell us what she's doing before we all get our panties in a bunch. Settle the fuck down, everybody. And I think from there, we go to Rhaenyra and Mysera talking about Mysaria. What did I call her?
Mysera?
Mysera? Lord have mercy.
It's all right. It's all right.
But yeah, they get to talking about like how this could be. How can this kid has unknown parentage at this point, be a rider? He's got to be from some house. I got to figure out what fancy house he's from. Girl, he ain't from no fancy house.
Yeah, he is, but it's so weird.
But not in a way.
It really is weird. I don't know we'll have to talk about that conversation.
Yeah,
later.
Rhaenyra, all right, so for now, what Rhaenyra is telling Mysaria is that her idea, and I guess also Jace's, right? Their idea is that they're going to find a noble person who just happens to have some Targaryen blood in them. Mm-hmm. Right. Which I didn't really clock the distinction of this particular plot point when it first came up. I just went right immediately to I thought she meant any Targaryen. I didn't realize she was making that distinction. So this leap from offering Sir Darklyn a dragon or an opportunity to claim a dragon is very different from calling all of these bastards up, and lifting them up. That's just an entirely different proposition that's happening. And Rhaenyra hasn't understood it yet. So when Mysaria has to be like, you're looking in the wrong places. You need to be looking in the wood piles and in the alleys and in the brothels and all that shit. Then it's like it clicks in her head, what the possibilities are. And she hadn't really broadened her target audience. She had a very, very narrow pool to pick from, and then suddenly it's expanded. Yeah, I love these scenes with her and Mysaria talking.
The two of them make a very good team. Yeah,
I like them together. I like her as Rhaenyra's sort of master of whispers, because she's not Han, and she's she's not really that's what she is, right? She's her Varys, her
Larys.
person. Yeah, her Larys, her Varys. Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
I'm so sorry.
But the way that she has to spell this out for Rhaenyra, I thought was really funny, because she has to say the word. She's like, listen, I worked in a pleasure house. I have seen so many of your raggedy ass silver-haired men come through and leave these silver-haired babies all over King's Landing. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
How do you not see them? How do you not think of them? How do you not consider them?
Yeah, it's obvious once we have the conversation with Jace why they aren't considered. Mm-hmm. And it's... all right, getting ahead of myself once again.
So, yeah. So they talk about that, and then I think the next scene is maybe Jace coming in. Is that what happens after the scene?
No, he comes. That's kind of towards the latter end of the episode.
Oh, okay.
The next scene is Adam being approached by Corliss. He's in a room just by himself, kind of poking around, and Corliss comes in behind him and just stands and stares at him in a very I can't believe you're fucking standing here kind of vibe. And when he calls him my lord, Corliss replies, my lord? That's what you're supposed to say, right?
Well, I think the joke, I don't know if it's a joke. I think it's because, and the reason I say this is because I paid attention to it specifically. when Corlys goes to see the other brother later, it's Milord, right?
Oh, we're doing
Right.
a little Tywin thing.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that's what that is. Yeah. I think that's what that's supposed to be anyway.
Okay.
And the best that Corlys can give this poor boy is a very curt well done at the end of their conversation. Yeah.
Look, guys, I've been saying that I don't feel like I have particularly got the time for Corlys that I used to have. And this episode really did not help with that at all. I was kind of disgusted. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand what it is about Adam that makes him refuse to acknowledge him. I think that's where I keep tripping up, is like, I don't get it. What are you looking for that he doesn't have? And what are you looking for that his brother does have? Because he saved your life. Is that it?
I think, and before we get too deep into this, I almost forgot that I missed the line when after Rhaenyra and Mysaria are done talking, and she says, "Then let's raise an army of bastards." I was like, "Okay, let's go." I have to admit, it got me. It got me. I can't front. It really did. I was like, oh, here we go. But this Adam and Alan of whole conversation that we're having, I think I said before, and I wish I knew what words meant, because Adam is something called a shipwright.
Right.
And I don't know what that means exactly.
He designs and like an architect for ships.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Because my earlier presumption was it had something to do with the fact that the other brother, Alan, is a distinguished sailor, a captain, or could be, a captain, is a warrior, and this other one does something that does not tick the boxes that Corlys thinks are important boxes to tick. That they're not distinguished boxes. But I didn't know exactly what shipwright was supposed to mean, and if that was somehow like lower work, or less skilled work. But maybe it is simply this. I have two boys. One is clearly marked for glory. He's got glory written all over him. And then the other one is a little bookish nerd who draws pictures of boats,
But wait, are you saying that Adam is the one that draws pictures of boats?
Adam is the shipwright.
Right.
And Alan is the one that is like the warrior, the captain, the fighter, the distinguishes himself in battle. And then you have another one who stays on land.
I think I'm getting confused about who is who then.
Okay, so
the Dragon Rider.
The Dragon Rider is a shipwright, which is that's what they say. They say it like twice in this episode.
Maybe I misunderstand what a shipwright is. Let me look this up, because now you've got me. Now I understand you saying I wish I knew what words meant, because I was like,
when they asked what the mother was also a shipwright.
A shipbuilder.
So you're not like on the seas having seafaring adventures. You're not like out in them streets, them water streets. All your work is like on land, and somehow it's just not as impressive of a career.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that I said like architect because I figured that they designed them and understood, but it looks like they're more the carpenters, like they're the manual labor.
All right. Okay,
so that makes some sense then. Because I thought that was more, I've misunderstood what shipwright has meant this whole time.
So I can't say the whole time because it's not a word that I've encountered and probably ever. So
I have encountered it a lot, which makes it very distressing to me to realize that I've been misinterpreting what it meant.
I'm very
Like-
curious why you're encountering it all the time.
I read a lot of fantasy for this show. It comes
That's
up
true.
a surprising
That's true.
amount.
So I'm still standing on that theory, which is the one I came up with a couple episodes ago. I feel like it makes the most sense to me. You know, you got two sons, one's out there doing a damn thing, bringing you glory, and the other one is chopping wood, putting planks together.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm.
But yeah, so I love the way too that Adam is just like walking around this room, just like, wow, this is some fancy shit.
A real doe-eyed hayseed, if you ever saw one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying to make sure we didn't miss anything else with Corliss. There's so much almost coldness when he comes in to talk to him.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that he isn't as impressive as his brother doesn't feel like adequate to me.
It's not adequate.
For the way he's behaving. And I want to believe that he's better than this, but he's not letting me believe it.
Yeah.
Corliss, what the fuck?
There's a moment where he looks at him and he kind of looks him up and down, and it seems for a second, almost a second, there's a flash on Corliss's face. And I don't know what it is. It's an emotion that shows on his face for a split second. And then he just says, "Well done." And turns around. It's almost like, I want to say like he almost wants to say something else, but then doesn't. And then just gives that very like perfunctory "well done" and then leaves the room. This relationship between the two of them is very interesting to me. I don't expect the show to give me any more about it. There's only one more episode left. You know what I mean? I don't think there's going to be much more time devoted to it, which is unfortunate because I would really like to get to the bottom of what the deal is here. But
I feel like it looks like grief. His face looks like he is remembering, maybe realizing that he has neglected this boy, and now the way that he has like come up, he's just like, I fucked this one up.
Maybe. I didn't want to, like, I'm already gave too much credit to fucking Laris. I was running out of credit to give, but I'm glad you said it because it's definitely something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
And then Adam makes quite a face too afterwards. It's a weird little like a weird nod, and then like I don't know if it's not satisfaction, but maybe it's just like a finally kind of like I got a crumb, you know.
I don't know, because like I felt like he looked like, really, that's it. It didn't look to me like it was satisfaction at all. It looked more just like I really thought I was finally getting something, and I did not.
I think that's more appropriate, that reaction. I agree. That's
he
the
looks
reaction.
sad too.
He should absolutely be feeling cheated in this moment, even more so than he's already felt cheated. Maybe it's a look of resignation, the way he nods his head, and it's just kind of like, oh, shit, I guess this is really all it is with this fucker. Fuck. Like, you know, like I came into this moment thinking you were finally going to be like proud of me and be wanting to claim me, and this is the best you do. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's really it then. Because, like, if claiming a dragon doesn't impress your father, what else is there for you to do?
Right.
Like,
yeah, honestly.
Yeah. And then we go to Daemon. I have to say, you guys, there was a lot of good shit this episode, but this whole sequence, top tier.
Mr. Tully is fucking pissed. This is so good, you guys. Oh my God. I cannot get enough of it. So I'm going to summarize because we could spend this episode going line by line because the dialogue is so good.
It really, really, really fucking is. But I'm going to let you do your thing.
What happens is that Tully shows up. Damon's like, hey, good for you. And he's like, good for me. You don't fucking want to look at me like 2 days ago. Shut the fuck up. Good for me. And then Damon's like, well, but you weren't useful to me. So what do you expect? Cordiality? Respect? For who? Now you're somebody. And then he's like, so are you on my side or not? And Tully is like, yeah, I guess. I guess I have to be, because that's what our whole thing is based on, and they gave their word. So I guess, yeah. But he is so grudging.
If begrudging was a person.
And then he says, I can't guarantee what my guys are going to say about this, though. And Damon's like, well, they're supposed to do what you say. And he's like, yeah, well, you really fucked shit up pretty bad. And I don't know if you fully appreciate how the effect that had. And Daemon is like, I did what I had to do. And he's like, So then he goes out and he talks to his guys who are like, this piece of shit asshole. And he's like, look, wait. First of all, you have to know, I am going to abide by the word that was given, despite the fact that I could barely look this ugly, shit-brained, homicidal motherfucker in the face. I don't even want to be in 6 feet of him. I don't want to share wine with him. I wouldn't loan him $5. I don't want this either. But our word was given before I got here. I'm sorry about it. I also look at him. Look at this guy. No, of course not. Who would want to do this? Meanwhile, Daemon just has to fucking stand there and take it the whole time.
God. There's a moment where Daemon tries to like buck up and he's like, do you fucking want this army or not?
He tries to be like, watch your tongue. And he's like, I have watched it. This is me being nice.
He calls Daemon King Consort to his face when they're still in the hall before they go outside.
I swear to
God. I screamed.
This kid has such giant iron basketballs. And so then they bring out the fucking is it the bracken?
It's the Blackwood.
The Blackwood.
Willem Blackwood. Yeah.
And they're like, if you want us to help you, you need to take care of this piece of shit too. We'll deal with one piece of shit. We are not dealing with 2 pieces of shit. We're not doing it. So are you sorry, quote unquote? Like, you know, sorry on paper. We know you're not really sorry. Nobody is under that impression. But can you pull off the PR stunt of saying you're sorry?
We need an apology to fucking print in the newsletter that we send out. So I need you to write something up real quick. Try to make it sound as genuine as you possibly can muster. We don't expect much from you.
And Daemon is looking at this guy who's like, I just did what you said. And he's saying this to the Tullys as well. Like, I just did what I was ordered to do. And Oscar is like, you enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. You didn't do just what you were ordered to do. You were excited to get to wreak your little fucking grudge on us for your own gratification. Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Nobody's fooled. Don't try to hide behind that. It's pitiful. And Daemon is like, bet, and cuts his head off. And it was just done. Brutal, because this guy is just like, I was a faithful son. Gone. And I was just, that was the only thing that Daemon could do. Of course he had to, but and the guy was definitely a piece of shit because he fully was enjoying the thing, but it was kind of hard to watch. It was kind of hard to watch.
I mean, it was so beautifully done. This fucking kid, also, like, shout out to this little actor because, you know, he's just a kid and he's trying to go toe to toe with Daemon, and he, in a way that's believable, right? Like the audience needs to believe it, and I honestly think he pulls it off. I think he really did. And there's also the chick that had burst into the castle at night. She's back here. She's somebody. I want to know who this is, because anytime a woman is like a part of things and has a voice, I'm always like, who's that? So I'm a little interested if like, not that I expect her to have a lot to do with the story, but just me being like, oh shit, there's a chick up in the mix. Who that?
I think that Austin Arminio gave us a list of the names of everybody that was present for that scene.
Oh.
But this was, was it the last episode or the one before?
I think it was the one before.
Yeah, so I don't recall at this
I
point.
remember him telling us that they weren't, because we just assumed they were Brackens, or who, I remember him breaking down that it wasn't them, but I couldn't remember like the individual people. I have to go back and check that out. Not that I can do anything with that information. It's not like I'm allowed to Google it.
That's true. Yeah, you don't want to do
that. But yeah, this everything about this. Also, this means that this is the end of the Harrenhal shenanigans. Because Daemon, it better fucking mean it. Daemon's got his host now, so let's like get on the road, people. It's time to skedaddle out of the castle,
down the road.
It is. It's time to give Sir Simon Strong the peace he has earned.
Yeah,
because he has been putting up with Daemon's bullshit for weeks now, and like he just wants this motherfucker out of his house. Please get out of my house.
Yeah, fully.
Please take you and your bullshit and go.
I really have grown to love Simon Strong so much.
He's been a delight. I almost hope that he has to march with them, but I don't think that's really how this is going to play out. But just
because you want to get more of him.
Just because I want to see him some more. But I don't.
That is a really cruel thing to hope.
But I don't think. I want for him some peace. I want him to be able to sit at his table with his derpy ass sons and enjoy like a meal without trying to keep up with what Daemon wants to be called this week. You know what I mean?
Oh man, King Consort. They say that shit over and over too. They really were rubbing that in. I loved it so much.
Yeah. And just like it wasn't shit Daemon could do, but stand there. And this is like, I think to talk about Daemon, he's still talking about my war and like my side and all that bullshit. But this act of, it's weird to call it humility because he didn't have any other options, but he can be such a fucking brat that I was surprised that he was able to control himself and get through this very public dressing down and this bit of humiliation. I didn't really believe Daemon had it in him to suffer, quite frankly. But to suffer the indignity of this moment for the greater goal of getting his host, his army.
I think the fact that he like apologized to his brother in that dream is meant to get us thinking that he has really like begun to see the error of a lot of his ways.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is like he took a turn.
Yeah.
And we get another little visit from Viserys coming up shortly, I believe.
Yeah, he's back. He is holding the crown, and he says, I never wanted it. You wanted it so badly. Do you still? Like, if you could have it, do you? And Daemon has a lot less eagerness in his face than he had at one point. He's holding it out to him. Essentially, you know what? Here, take it. And Daemon looks afraid. And that's the scene.
Yeah. He doesn't like reach out for it at all, does he? It just ends with him looking kind of like, maybe I don't fucking want this after all. And the fact that the Viserys he sees is end of life Viserys, right? It's end stage Viserys.
That definitely feels significant.
Yeah, you know. All the other versions of Viserys that he's been seeing have been much younger and, you know, relatively healthier. And now this is the cost. Like, as you're looking through my eyeball, my eye socket, like, this is what it costs. Do you really want it? And yeah, Daemon is like looking at what's left of his brother, like,
Yeah, it feels like he has been sort of operating on the, well, that won't happen to me. I'm too strong for that. And now he has started to see that, like, life comes at you fast, Daemon. I don't know.
Do you remember the episode of Seinfeld where Jerry's girlfriend won't eat the pie?
No.
And
what pie?
So it's a Poppy. Remember Poppy?
Uh-oh.
That's super weird. Oh my God.
What?
So I set an alarm for this morning to wake me up at 6 a.m. But I just got up super early. I got up at like 5:30 for some reason. I set my alarm wrong last night. Like I just realized it just now. Like that could have fucked up my whole day. I just happened to get up super early.
That's funny.
I'm sorry. Fuck.
You were talking about the pie, Poppy.
Oh, Poppy. You know, remember Poppy?
Yes, who pees on the couch.
So Jerry is dating Poppy's daughter, and he offers her, there's a diner, and he's like, oh,
and she's just shaking her head really fast.
Yeah. Yes. That's what Damon's doing here. He's just like, no. No.
Yeah. All right. So the next scene, this is a tough one. We go to the Maester who is attempting to help Aegon walk again.
This seems too soon.
That's the whole energy here is very much like, we know he isn't ready. You know, I feel like as viewers. And Larys doesn't seem to disagree that he isn't ready. He's just saying, it's too goddamn bad that he's not ready.
Yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes. And he better fucking get ready.
Aegon looks so bad, you guys.
So
I was like gobsmacked. It looks like his father. Like you know, like it's like he only was wearing the crown for like a fucking fortnight. And look what it did to him. Like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know why saying Fortnite makes that so much funnier, but it really fucking does, though.
But yeah, he's a mess. Like, what did they do to my boy? You know, my beautiful boy. What did they do?
Another Seinfeld reference. Sorry about it, guys. We're really going off a little bit.
Well, that's a fucking Godfather reference.
Boy.
That's
right. I just watched the Cable Boy episode, so that's why.
Oh my God.
Cable Boy. Cable Boy. What did you do to my Cable Boy? Anyway.
Oh, it's a shame he turned out to be such a piece of shit.
That's exactly the words I said last night. Like verbatim. To Owen. It's such a shame he turned out to be a piece of shit.
Yeah. What a
really
shame.
The heart and soul of that whole show.
Fuck. So yeah, Larys comes in and he's just, you know, bullying the Maester. You're gonna fucking do this. But he says his parting line is it will be long before he may rest again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to just phone a friend. What is he saying here?
I thought that because we've been talking about how he does not trust Aemond, and that Aemond is clearly gunning for him.
Okay, good. That's
So
okay.
I thought it was just like, he has to spend all his energy protecting his neck, basically.
That's okay. That's what I thought too. It's such a weird turn of phrase though. But the energy of the scene is definitely exactly what you said, right? The way he delivers the line feels very much like that's exactly what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah.
But I couldn't make the words make sense in the way that they were said. I was just like, that's a really fucking weird way to phrase that. Like,
is it?
For me, it really was. Like, maybe it's just a me problem. Things often are just a me problem. But yeah, I was just like, it sounds like he's saying, if we don't do this now, he's going to be wrestling for fucking ever. But, because Aemon's going to kill him.
I was thinking it was just like, he can't relax anymore because he has to watch his back.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a while before he is safely able to let his guard down. That was the way I took it.
I mean, I took it the same way you took it. It's just the actual phrase that's said that, like, just threw me off.
Okay.
Just weird phrasing. Which usually I'm a fan of because I fall victim to it so very, very often.
I wish I knew what words meant.
That's
gonna haunt me now. I like it. All right, so that's the essence of that scene, which is just also very difficult to watch. Once they get him back in bed, the sounds, this actor playing Aegon, I know I have been doing this every time, but he is so good. Mm-hmm. The sounds that I was made a joke to Ona. I was like, babe, is this what I was like when my back spasmed? So I had to call out of my recordings because my back was in such a state that I couldn't even get out of bed without crying. And yeah, Owen was basically like, yeah, that's pretty much what you sounded like. Just the agonizing pain. And it's like embarrassing, like because you're so helpless.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So yeah, this whole scene is just really, it's tough to watch.
Yeah.
All right. So next scene.
One last thing before we move on. I just want to pick your brain a little bit about like this idea that Larys is trying to get Aegon back to strength so that he can return to rule because Aemon is just going to be a disaster. Do you remember the whole, I know you remember, the sort of I'm doing all of this shady shit, but I'm doing it for something I really believe in, energy of Varys, Like, yes. I serve the realm. I don't serve, you know what I mean? I'm here for like, so like Larys is pretending or Larys is behaving as if getting Aegon back is because Aemon is such a disaster. And that is almost altruistic, but it's definitely still about the fact that he feels like he can control Aegon in a way that he can't control Aemon, right? Like Larys is not working on some, I have to do what's best for the realm. Or do you think
I don't
maybe
think
he is?
So.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we have not been privy to much like internal thought with him or any scenes where he is with somebody that he would have let his guard down with. So it's really hard to say, but I haven't really gotten that impression. The only thing I could see is like, maybe there's an altruism that comes out by accident once he realizes how bad somebody actually is. That like when he's dealing with people who otherwise are decent and he can just safely scheme for himself, it's fine. But once he is faced with people who are like really obviously a menace, he's like, all right, I'm going to have to shut down for a second and deal with this immediate problem because nobody is winning on this at all. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me and like sort of the way that my mind can work sometimes is
all right.
practical
Let me put my bullshit on the back burner for just a second.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
But,
so now we're at the scene that you really want to talk about. So let's get into it.
Okay, so Alan. Thank God I got it right. He says his name immediately after. This is so funny. He turns and looks at him in like from under brows in this way that was so. I think maybe I just don't really think this actor is very good, and maybe that's just me. But every encounter that we have had with him, there's been a sort of weird vibe, and I'm starting to be like, I think I'm just not really buying his performance. I think that's what's going on. But Corlys comes over and is just like, I need you in King's Landing, and you've got to get fishing vessels, make sure the captains are dependable, and you're going to pay them whatever they fucking ask. And have them wait just outside the harbor. There will be a message to carry, and I'll let you know who you're bringing it to when the time comes. And then the queen has found a new rider for one of her dragons. And Alan's like, yeah, I heard that. And he's like, did you hear that it's your brother? And Alan's like, So wee-bay moment. Now she makes calls for others. Our people are of old Valyria, but we are no dragon lords. And I confess, I knew little of your mother's heritage. So I just really feel like I thought Valerians, it was just in there. And he's talking like it's absolutely not.
It's a very weird scene. Like, it's like he's suggesting that, you know, your mother could have been a Targaryen bastard. I would not know. But if you want to go test that theory, you know, my assumption, it never occurred to me that these young men, or well, not both of them, it's just the one, Adam. Jesus. And I know which one is which.
I know you do. It's just very reassuring. I am not the only one that keeps doing this.
But it never occurred to me that the ability to ride the dragon was from anything other than Corlys. Like, it never popped in my head. I just leapt to that assumption. I don't know enough about the history. I know that the families married into each other's houses over the centuries. But I guess, see, that's the thing. Like, Corlys is saying we're of old Valyria, but we are no dragon riders. But, like, how far back in your tree, Corlys, do you have to go before you find out anybody in your family, you know, was married and had children with a Targaryen? Like, I mean, that's probably already actually scoped out in the histories of Westeros. That's probably something that Austin could answer for me very quickly.
Probably.
Right? So maybe Corlys knows what he's talking about. I never thought for a second it would be anything other than the fact that they were Corlys' son. Like, that's the whole point of making them Corlys' bastards for the sake of the show, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Otherwise, they could just be two other Targaryen bastards, just like all the other ones that we've met. Like, why make them Corlys' sons if that's not going to be the hook? So this is a weird thing that it's sort of like being suggested that maybe it's the mother. So I don't know. Show. I don't know. I got nothing.
And I just want to say, like, for the sake of people listening, because there have been a couple times where people are like, I can't tell if Natasha is just being coy and keeping Rashawn from being spoiled, or if she genuinely doesn't remember. And there have been times where I am being coy. This is not one of those times. I genuinely do not remember. So, sorry about it. Just thought I should know. But yeah, he continues with it may be something in the blood, and gives him this look. And Alan's like, I know what you're suggesting, sir, and I am not interested. Thank you, but pass. I'm very satisfied with where I am.
I think what this actor is doing that's not connecting for you is trying to portray like a very, like a deep-seated rage.
I think so.
That cannot be expressed in any manner. Like, he simply, because of his station, Corlys is his fucking boss. You know, which is a real understatement, but like, you know, he's his lord, but he's also his boss. He wants someone to ship with him. Like, and so what does it look like when you have that and you have to, and this motherfucker won't stay out your face. Like, all he wants is for Corlys to leave him alone. And every time he turns around, this motherfucker is in his face asking him to do some shit. Like, every time they're together, Corlys says, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And this, it's like every time he sees Corlys, he's just, this motherfucker. Mm-hmm. What now? Like, what do you want now? You know,
I accept that. Okay.
But whether I was about to say the whether or not he's doing a good job of that is entirely subjective. You know.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing other people's opinion. What do you think? Like, does it work for you?
I find him to be stiff in a way that I think is meant to portray a sort of tightening up in the presence of this man, like an attempt to control everything, all the emotions and stuff. Like he like physically. Every muscle in his body tenses up when he's around Corlys. But that kind of comes across the screen. It's just like a stiffness to the actor.
Yeah.
That I think might be intentional, but maybe isn't working for everybody. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see what the people say.
Yeah. I don't normally have this kind of complaint in this show. Usually everybody is pretty much top tier. So I think that's why it took me a while to really connect why I was sort of going, I don't like this guy. And I don't want to feel that way. I never like criticizing somebody on their craft, so to speak, in a way that's just like, you're bad at this. You know, I criticize people for their craft as a living. So I recognize that. That's literally my job. But I don't ever try and just be like, you shouldn't be doing this. And I'm not saying that now either, but it just felt very much like, what's my problem with this over and over? And just, I don't think he's doing it. Mm-hmm. So this is when we go to the scene with Alicent and her like Kingsguard in the woods. He is cleaning a stag that he killed, I think.
No, we go to the Vale.
We do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so brief. Yeah. I forgot. Okay, yeah. Because Bela is out there. Not Bela.
It's Rhaena, yeah. So why are the errands the lady errands? Because I don't know the dudes. Because there's never a dude errand around.
No,
like I don't know.
Except for one of her sons, I guess.
Barely, but like there's no Lord Aaron around. Like John Aaron died at the beginning of Game of Thrones, and then they get to the Vale and it's Lady Jane Aaron here. I don't know, like what I'm assuming her Lord is also dead. So one, what is that about? And then two, well, we know what happened to the first one. You know, she killed her husband with Littlefinger's suggestions,
right?
But
oh, I don't know why, but
this coldness And this sternness that this woman has, I can't. Like I said before, when I saw this actress, oh my god, those memes about her neck, y'all. Jesus Christ,
I haven't seen them.
You haven't seen them? When she
No.
first made her appearance, they were like memes about how long she's a very long, slender neck, and people went to town. They went to town.
People are wild.
But this like coldness, the way that she's sending them off and then turns and gives Rhaena this sort of searing look and then turns like very sharply, like I'm turning my back to you, and they walk back through their gates and close them. I guess it's because historically the Vale is kind of separate from the goings-ons of the rest of the world because they're so far away and in a place that's so supposedly safe that they don't have to get mired down in what's going on in the rest of the world. So I guess that's the energy I'm picking up, but it's so unpleasant.
Yeah.
It really is it's just, ew. Like, I don't know this woman really, and I just do not like her at all.
Yeah, it's very, she has the same, like, cold distance that the Eyrie literally has. And it feels like that is a theme with this house a lot of the time.
But so we have Rhaena deciding to ditch her whole little entourage, which she's abandoning those babies.
Yeah, she is.
Which I don't love. I know she's about to go get a dragon, which I do love. I just want y'all to know I'm conflicted because she was entrusted with the care of not only the dragon eggs, but the dragon babies. Like,
why did I think you were going to say the dragonettes?
Oh,
that's what
God.
we call dragon babies now.
That's the dragonettes.
The dragonettes. And they come on in their sparkly little sequin outfits. I'm sorry. Guys, the skits in my head, I just barely a glimpse.
But yeah, because in my head, they're like little dancing baby dragons that are wearing like pumps and shimmy dresses, singing the song that you just sang. I
like it.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad news.
With little beehive hairdos.
Yep, yes. Sure do. But so she's leaving them to go off to Pentos, not alone, but she's supposed to be with them and keeping her eye on them. And she has turned away from that to run off to, I'm assuming, find this dragon. And then I'm also assuming ride that bitch. So I
punchy. Why is everything cracking me up so
I
bad
think
today?
You're a little punchy, yeah. But
it's been a stressful week, y'all.
Listen, today is Monday. Ma'am.
What a week, huh? Tuesday. I literally did it. Oh my god.
You said that shit with your whole chest. You were so serious. You were so serious.
Yo.
I was about to co-sign, and then I remember what day it was. Because I was like, yes, it... Wait. Fucking hell.
Yes, it wait.
Jesus Christ. But so she goes off into the hills to where this she found the evidence of the dragon food, the snacks, the leftovers. And
maybe that's what dragonettes are. It's like Raisinets,
but just that.
But it's like little like chocolate coated pieces of like lamb and stuff.
Oh, fucking anyway. Hell.
These are flaming hot.
So I know we talked about a storyline from the books that was seemingly like it was going to get changed, and you couldn't give me too much information about it.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming, even though we didn't get to see it this episode, we're spending so much time with Rhaena and this sort of like what she's willing to do for a chance to get a dragon. My assumption is that she will ultimately be successful. I mean, hope.
That's not necessarily linked with the cutting of the other storyline.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I thought that, okay, well, you're not going to tell me.
I'm not going to tell you anyway, shit, so you don't need to tell me your little theories.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into it.
I'm not one of your little theories.
And then we leave the Vale and we go to Alicent at her little campsite.
This poor man. He looks so stressed. She's just riding around looking majestic with her hair. He's got like a piece of intestine or something.
He's cleaning and skinning something. Dinner, I guess.
And they've got a whole camp set up. And she comes over to him and she says, I'm going to go to bed. And that's all she says. She just like walks on past him. And it's clear he had thought there was going to be a little bit more to this conversation. And he says, so, like, you know, what's approximately, no pressure, the timeline here for when we are going back to King's Landing? And she's like, That's TBD. Potentially not happening. Bye.
Imagine the place that he's in where you are guarding like the queen out in the woods and she refuses to go back to the castle. Like, he's got to be in a little bit of a pickle because I feel like he's got to tell somebody. But he can't just leave her unprotected in the woods. So, like, what do you do? He can't force her to go back.
No.
I mean, I guess if somebody would have to command him. Like,
yeah,
you know, like the king or Aemon in this case, since he's ruling, would have to command it. And then he could maybe override Alicent's wishes. But since we know her sons, well, not her sons, because Aegon is incapacitated. We know Aemon doesn't give a fuck where his mother is. It doesn't seem like, right?
No.
He told her she could go do whatever the fuck she wanted to do. So now she's going to do what the fuck she wants to do, which is apparently be in the woods away from all this bullshit. But yeah, fucking same. But yeah, the face that he makes when she announces that, like, yeah, I'm not really sure when we're going back, if fucking ever. It's a real, like, what am I supposed to fucking do? Somebody please show up and tell me what I'm supposed to fucking do. Which is a weird place to, if you are like, especially if you're in the military or in this case, like the King's Guard, you're a knight and there's a chain of command and you don't necessarily have the autonomy to just make decisions. You need somebody to tell you how you're going to move next.
Yeah.
And you're just out there flapping in the breeze.
This is the thing that comes up so often in these books. And it's like, you know, it's part of the theme because like a lot of what George R. R. Martin is attempting to convey is at any given time how absolutely fucked the small folk are and how they cannot there's no good choices for them, you know? And while he's not technically small folk being on the King's Guard, I feel like really he doesn't have any rights, you know, not exactly. So
he's almost more perilous than like some of the small folk because of the proximity he has to power. Yeah. These people that he serves are very dangerous people that can turn on him at any second and dismiss him, jail him, order him to do some heinous shit that he'd have to do. You know, like it's a very precarious position that they're in. You're right. It's not vulnerable in the way that the small folk are, but it has a vulnerability to it.
Yeah, and it feels like, for example, in the book, when Arya steals a horse and runs away from Harrenhal with Gendry and does she go with Hot Pie, I feel like? Whoever it is. They steal horses, and I think eventually we find out that one of the stable hands who she told, I am here on orders of whoever was in charge at that point, I think Roose Bolton, give me horses. He said so. And this dude gives her the horses because he believes he's functioning on orders. Mm-hmm. But then later, he's executed because he was wrong. How is he supposed to know that? His orders does Roose Bolton ever just show up and actually give him direct orders? I bet almost never. Mm-hmm. But he is held responsible for this in literally with his life in a way that is so out of proportion to his actual power. So, yeah, this is it's just not fair. News at 11. Monarchy is not I don't know how many of you knew this. All right. We're actually making pretty decent time because it's we're able to summarize a lot of this fairly easily. Mm-hmm. But next scene is Jace.
Yeah. I was disgusted. I was disgusted. And it's not that I don't get what is motivating Jacaerys, which is a reasonable fear, True. Right? Mm-hmm. And also a deep held shame that's been buried for a long time that's never really been addressed. But I need people, because this comes up in the Dragon Pit later. I need people to stop talking to Rhaenyra any old way. I just do, and I'm including her son in that. I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit.
I think this is the black coming out in you.
It might be. It might be because you. All that bass in your voice, talking to your mom like that. No.
And it's just really.
And it was your plan. I'm sorry. This is his idea.
It's true. Yes.
Granted, it's been tweaked. Because your big claim for the one guy that that didn't work out, and so I'm sorry. Go ahead and summarize, girl.
No, I mean you don't have to apologize. I feel like this is completely valid.
I just and then he calls them before she really when he's really coming in hot, because it comes in super hot. Mm-hmm. The lowborn are claiming dragons now. And then he blames Mysaria. Was it her idea? Mm-hmm. Which all of a sudden he's worried and jealous about Mysaria now, and distrustful of her when so far her shit's been working.
It has.
The few victories or successes that Rhaenyra has had so far are directly a result of Mysaria's counsel. But then he calls them mongrels.
Yeah, he does.
And y'all, I felt the whole way about that. Mm-hmm. I out of your mouth, sir.
Yeah.
And before I could even have to call him out on it, we get to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
That's just some self-hate. That's some self-loathing coming out. Just coming right out your own mouth. Mm-hmm. The thing that you hate about yourself. Because that's how that shit works.
It does. It's very unfortunate how we always get caught up and we think we're being so slick with the way that we're handling it. And it's terrible. Mm-hmm. Please, as if we aren't aware.
Yeah. And then he tries to stalk off with that's going to be the last word of the conversation. He's just going to get to drop that and then leave. Who do you think? You're not Daemon.
Oh, that's exactly what he's trying to do there. That's true. I didn't even really put that together, but yep.
So then they get into the nitty gritty of what's going on here. And she is trying to be like, listen, the big picture, son. I need you to think about the big picture. And he says basically back, I need you to think about the bigger picture. Not just the big picture, but the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens when we win and you get the throne and then you die? What happens to me?
That's not a bad question, to be honest.
And, and also he makes a point where he's like, what about all these bastards you're raising up? What if one of them decides to take their dragon and decide the throne is theirs next? Then what? Because she's giving them, by letting these bastards be dragon riders, that's automatic, legitimacy.
Right.
That's just, even, I don't know if it's going to go down on paper, whether these writers get titles and shit. I don't know if that's how that's going to go. But even if it's not on paper, even if they don't all suddenly get their own house or whatever the fuck happens when you get a dragon, they get legitimacy. It's like you cannot deny them anymore because they're fucking riding dragons.
Yeah.
And that was, to Jace's point, the one thing he had that sort of gave him legitimacy.
Yep.
And now she is tarnishing that by allowing known bastards to also be able to do this incredible thing that only a select special few people were supposed to be able to do. And basically accusing her of weakening his own claim. And he actually says, you stripped me of something else. And he asked her about the hair. That's how this conversation gets open. Like, did you know, or did you think I would have brown hair?
Did it ever occur to you that I might just not even look like I'm part of your family?
That's what he says. Did it ever even occur to you? Because that suggests a selfishness on Rhaenyra's part, that you were out here doing this thing without thinking of the consequences and what I would have to bear. Mm-hmm. You were not thinking that far ahead. You never even stopped to consider what will I do? Yeah. Right. And that I don't like his tone, but mm-hmm. It's a fucking fair question, Yeah. It's such a weird thing too, like the succession and legitimacy and how all that works. And what if her kids had come out with blonde hair, but were still bastards? Which, if I'm not mistaken, oh wait, no, they have black hair in the books, right? Do they have black hair in the books?
Which?
The kids, the bastards, Jace and Lucerys.
Yeah.
They have black hair, right?
Brown.
But
yeah. Why? What?
I was just trying to think about what. Oh, you know what? I'm getting confused. The thing that the show did by making the Valerians black to make the whole, like, they don't look like.
Oh, gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Make it stand out more for the TV audience. Because what I was thinking was, just because they have dark colored hair is not necessarily proof of their being bastards, because there are other Targaryens in the line, or other, like the grandmother who has black hair or dark brown hair, right? But the show doesn't give us that cover.
No. The
show makes it very, very clear in multiple ways that these are absolutely bastards. That it's not just a rumor. It's not, it's actual and factual, which makes, like, if Rhaenyra thought that her silver locks were going to override whoever she had sex with, that's okay for the first one. But you had 2 more kids with him, with Strong.
Moon tea exists.
What'd you say?
I said moon tea exists.
Oh. That's you know what? She could have just had the one kid and chalked it up to being a fluke and then not had any more babies.
Yep.
Especially once we find out that she had tried with Laenor and it was unsuccessful and they had then stopped having sex. So she knew for a fact whose kid she was carrying. You know, Rhaenyra, girl.
Look, this is something that comes up a lot. Like when people are arguing about Alicent's attitude toward Rhaenyra for having the bastards. And don't get me wrong, the way that Alicent treated her was really shitty. However, everybody's like, what does it matter who the father is when she's the heir and they are clearly her children? She was pregnant. They are hers. So who cares? Guys, this has never been about logic. It has been about patriarchy. Her parentage does not matter ultimately. That's never been how this really works. Like, who their mother is?
Yeah, that's only ever worked. Like in our actual real world, it's only like a very few small number of cultural, societies, cultures that are matriarchies, and even the ones that aren't. Like who is it that? Oh, Jewish. Like that runs on your mother's side. So like if you have a mother who's Jewish and a father who's Gentile, then you'll be Jewish because your mother is. I'm sure there are other examples, but I couldn't name another one.
Yeah.
That's how uncommon it is. It's always been about who the father is. Right?
It's just really frustrating to me that everybody keeps on trotting out logic in a situation like this to act as if the way that Alicent is talking about her children being illegitimate doesn't make any sense. Of course it doesn't make any sense. This shit doesn't make sense. Rhaenyra was named as heir, and solely because she's a woman, everybody is just like, nah. So, of course, she's not allowed to fuck around. And of course, the children that are a result of her fucking around aren't going to be seen. Like, it's just wild to me how much people keep trying to act like reason matters here. That's just, when has that been how it works? Just
right.
Point to a time.
I love too this train of thought that you're on, because a lot of people have been talking about how Rhaenys getting passed over is like the best example, or one of the better examples of the misogyny of the time, right? But the fact that a mother can't pass on her line is itself the ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like we can bear the children, but they're not our line, which is wild. Like too, like this keeps coming up, and every time I see somebody say it, I just get like it's just such a douchey thing. But like the idea that the man provides the seed,
yes,
like y'all know that's not how that works, right? Listeners, gentle listeners, friends. Y'all know that's not how that works.
Yeah. Everybody, the seed is what we are being forced to excrete monthly in a gout of blood.
Yep.
It's really pleasant.
Y'all.
It's fun. We love it.
Y'all are the fertilizer. Which is also funny because
that's a shit joke, everybody. Just in case you were catching on to why we both found that very funny. Yes, you do your part the same way the cow shit does its part. You should be very proud of yourselves.
And they are. They are so proud of
themselves. So y'all, I absolutely... This is how I always feel whenever somebody brings up, like, if in the abortion debate, well, shouldn't the father have a say? And the father is like, if you, as a woman, go to the grocery store and buy all the ingredients, and you come home and you assemble the sauce and season the ricotta and cook the sausage, and then you realize that you need pasta. And the husband goes and buys it and brings it home, and the wife continues to like assemble it and then cook it and serve it and do the dishes. And the husband saying, I helped make that. You didn't help doesn't feel like the word.
It feels like too strong of a word. You participated.
You were there. That's what you get. Okay?
You were in the room.
Be happy with that. Because even that, I feel like, is giving you some credit that's over. I am just anyway. So, all right, let's move on to the next scene after this, which is when the note gets passed, and we have a long, like, moving from Dragonstone into King's Landing into the actual pub where all of this is being talked about, and Hugh is getting egged on by his friends because all of a sudden Hugh is like, or not Hugh, sorry, Ulf, thank you. Ulf is like, well, I'm not super positive that this is true. And these guys are like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So every time anybody has bought you a drink and you have gotten, to get drunk on someone else's dime, you weren't sure if it was true. Is that what you're saying to us? And it's actually very funny to me. I really enjoy how much they just like fucking goad him.
I know. Ulf is like, but my leg, I got this injury. I threw my back out. Like he starts like trying to reach for it.
He really is just like, he's attempting to wiggle out of it and do a Homer Simpson out the back door. But eventually it becomes clear that, like,
listen, he's
never going to be taken seriously again if he doesn't do this.
They start calling him out. It's all loud and shit.
I love this.
Like raising his voice. All of these people and everybody in the bar is like, wait, what's happening over there? And
it's good, you guys. I did really like this.
And then once he like is like, all right, well maybe I guess I could kind of go. They all get like really excited, and this is when they start like just toasting to Ulf the Dragon Lord, which I maintain this is unsafe.
Just saying it out loud,
this is supposed to be clandestine. Yeah, and we're toasting up. The whole bar is toasting up. This is. No, it's and using his name. Like, no, don't no.
Alf the Dragon Lord. Yes, that guy.
And then it cuts from that scene, which is very like excited and full of energy and like possibility, and this is going to be great, and we're toasting, to Hugh and his wife reacting to the same news. And it's just an entirely different vibe. This conversation is wholly different. We find out that this guy is not just a bastard. He is fucking Daemon and Viserys' brother.
Yeah. Which
I wasn't ready for. I wasn't ready for him to be like that. And I remember, I think I even had questions when I was talking about like, all these bastards and like who could potentially be his ancestor because of his age. And then due to my own lack of imagination, I was out here thinking like straight one generation, right? Like, but it is, his mother was the daughter. Wait, what is it now? Hang on. His mother was she the mistress of? She would have to, in order to be Viserys and Daemon's brother. his mother was the mistress of whoever their father was, whose name I don't know.
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Tell me.
Well, so it is, the implication is that she wasn't actually, like, she was actually Targaryen. She was working at a pleasure house, but she was like a actual full-blooded and happened to be working there.
Oh, he says because of,
yeah.
He says because of who she was and because Richmond paid more to be with somebody with silver hair.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. So King Jaehaerys had a daughter who was a bit of a wild child. She got up to a lot of hijinks, and eventually she just like ran away and went to Pentos and joined a pleasure house. At least that was the rumor.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what we're thinking here, is that he is her son. So it's like a pretty direct line.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
She was disowned because she, like, before running away, she had got caught fucking like a stable boy or something. Like she was out here just like throwing it at everybody in a way that I fully support, but was not the way. And her parents kept trying to like get her back in line, and she kept being like, I am not interested. Oh my God. And then she just bailed, and they were like, fine, you're not our daughter anymore. And that was the end of it.
All right, so he says, I was no different to her brother's boys, and I mistook that to mean like his brothers. Like I read that wrong when I was watching. So, okay, I was no different to her brother's boys. Oh, it's right there. So her brother is the father of Viserys and Daemon. So that makes him their cousin. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. But you know what? You have that unfortunate thing where we just talked about how like the line is it doesn't go from mother to child, right?
Yeah.
So, wow. All right, Hugh. Also, their daughter died.
I know.
I was so bummed out to hear that. I
felt so bad because like it wasn't until he actually said it that I was like, oh right, she's not here. But she was just such a non-entity because she never had any like dialogue.
I just assumed she was in the corner on her cot.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? And his wife does not want any of this. She does not want. He's trying to frame it like we could have a life. Like I couldn't save our daughter. I don't have any money. Like this could raise us up. You would be a lady. And she's like, I'm not. That's not what I want. Like I want you to not be dead. Is what I want. And
I just lost my daughter. How about I don't also lose my husband immediately after? Mm-hmm, that would be cool if you would not make me go through that.
Yeah, she looks devastated. Yeah, she's listening to him tell the story, and he has never told her any of this. This is like, you know, finally him telling this pain that he's been carrying, and he wants her to understand how he needs to do this. And she just does not. She just doesn't, you know. She's like, we can go live with my brother and you can get a job and we'll have a life.
He says, I can't ignore this.
Yeah.
And frankly, as much as I do see her point, I have to agree with him. Potentially being a Targaryen who can ride a dragon, maybe? You can't ignore that. Come now.
Yeah. He's also got like, so he says, I have to do something, right? Mm-hmm. And that's like the last thing he says before we see that he's left and he's the Dragonstone. And you figure like, and I think this is even mentioned in the little after thing that I watched, but again, didn't watch the whole thing. But this is somebody who has been like, all I can think of is neutered. And that is not the word I want. But like, these things are
Feels
happening.
impotent.
Yeah. Like these things are, he has not been able to control, he wasn't able to take care of his family. He didn't get fucking paid for the work he did for the crown. His daughter died. He couldn't save her. He's just got to be feeling like all of these very, very big feelings, these big feelings of like needing to take control. And also I would wager the chance, not just to your point of being able to claim a fucking dragon and be recognized as a Targaryen and how that would elevate him, but also like the chance to fucking wreck Aemon and the crown. Bullshit. Like, like that's got to be kind of appealing to a man who is as angry as he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that scene was heartbreaking because, I don't know if he writes home and is like, hey, guess what? And then she shows up at Dragonstone, but this felt very final. This felt like you've made your choice, and I can't believe you chose something that wasn't me. From the wife's point of view,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe he'll send a raven and she'll come. But if I was begging my husband not to go and he went anyway and left me grieving alone for our daughter, I would feel a real way. Even if he wrote me and said, "Hey, I won the lottery." I'd probably go though. If he won the lottery. Now that I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a woman in this situation isn't going to have a lot of options. So that's really the main reason that I would think that she would go. Is
we know she has a brother that she can go be with.
Yeah, but travel alone as a woman?
Yeah, that's
pretty
tricky.
dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know how far away. Like they named the town, but I have no idea like what that means in real life. So then we go back to Alicent in the woods after we see the people making their way to the ships to head to Dragonstone. And is this when she goes swimming?
Yeah.
She's
I feel
very
like we've
pretty.
talked about this. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And apparently that's all her hair. They never have to put her in a wig. She just has hair that good.
Oh,
I know,
really?
Right? Yeah.
That is a gorgeous head of hair.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just walking through the weeds, just walking through the tall grass. It is beautiful though. This is a beautifully shot sequence. And this white underskirt that she's got on. But yeah, we mostly talked about this already.
Yeah. All right. So next scene.
Wait, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Because I missed the implication that she might have been considering just ending her life. If she was considering that, what do you think? Like, why not? Like, why not do it?
I mean, for all the reasons that we don't.
Fair.
Fair
enough. Fair enough.
Family, a little sliver of hope that things will get better. Who knows what lies ahead? There's all sorts of things that we eventually come to the conclusion like, nah, actually, I'm going to give it another shot.
Okay.
All
right.
I also can't help but think that, like, that maybe the fact that Aemond is such a shitbag makes her feel like she has some responsibility. It feels like this might be running away from a problem that, to a degree, you created, lady. So maybe you want to just do something about it before you just flee the world. I'm just saying. So, yeah. All right. So what do we got next? Right. So this is the scene. Rhaenyra comes down and she makes a big speech to everybody about how they're going to be part of history and potentially end the war. But it turns out that the people who are part of the order that takes care of the dragons think this is basically blasphemy and they want no part of it.
They fucking, again, just talking to the queen any old way.
Yeah.
And I get that this is an order that is like an ancient order that takes their calling very seriously, like a religion, you know. But I simply could not believe that there wasn't a moment of like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
Yeah.
Get the fuck back here and do your goddamn jobs. You only exist to serve me and mine. Otherwise, you know, what do we need you for? All the dragons could just be wild if there were no riders, and they wouldn't need you either. The dragons don't need y'all.
The thing is with this is that they don't want to make Rhaenyra seem like a tyrant.
I guess.
You know,
she needs to tyrant it up.
A little bit, right? Like there's a fine line between restraining yourself and just letting yourself get walked all over. And, you know, it's kind of funny because, like, you know how at the beginning of the episode you said that she, like, Rhaenyra looks like she's about to go to 100?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
There was a meme I saw, and it was her face when she comes face to face with Adam. And the meme said, uh-oh, she's making this face, y'all. And we all know when she makes this face, she is about to. And there was like a break, and then it says, do absolutely fucking nothing. And I was like, oh, that is cold, but that is fair.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we keep seeing her in these moments of what seems to be a towering rage, and nothing happens, you know?
Yep.
And
Yep.
This is, I fully agree with you that, like, they should not be allowed to speak to her like this.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I really believe that they're afraid to make her enforce her position, you know?
Yeah, it's very strange to me that this is allowed, and that she lets them just stalk off like that after embarrassing her in front of everybody. Like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Like, I know I keep saying that, but literally, what is the fucking point of being queen if you can't be like, who the fuck are you think you're talking to?
Mm-hmm.
And then it begs the question, why did we need the whole ceremony last episode with Darkland if you can just
could just walk in there
and just say, hey, come here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There's some, I mean, I appreciate, and this is me filling in for the show in ways that the show should not need me to fill in for. Maybe the idea is that, oh, she can just do it herself. She don't even need them because that's how, you know, she's powerful enough. She doesn't need all this pomp and circumstance. It's not about any of that, right? That maybe what we're watching is a complete unraveling of all of the mythology around what it is to ride a dragon. Everything from who can do it to who can call them to how they're claimed. Like, we're watching all of that be shown to just be a bunch of a family's self-hype, a family's PR machine that's lasted centuries. But that to me does not excuse this behavior of the order and the fact that, like, you just it can't stand. You can't keep talking to her like this in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this, right? It's just it's too much. And I know, like you and I have talked about endlessly, the show is trying to say a thing. Nobody listens to the women. Nobody listens to the women. Nobody listens to the women. But at some point, I need the women to be like, you're going to say something about the fact that nobody's listening to you, other than just kind of crying about it to your bestie in the privacy of your rooms, you know?
Yes, fully.
And it's late in the season, one episode left. I don't know. But so yeah, so they fucking tell her that she's blaspheming against God and they won't abide it. And they take their little sticks that don't do anything and go home.
Those sticks are so sad.
It is like, what is the point of them? It's such a weird thing. It's just to make the people in the order feel like they have something, I guess, like it's so terrible to be empty. It's so terrible to be facing a dragon that your brain won't let you do it empty handed. So somehow your brain is like, this stick makes it even.
This is how we are. So I guess that does make sense. If I'm like in the middle of the night, hear an intruder and I get up, I'm going to pick up whatever's near me and just be like, yeah, this will do something.
Yep. I love too that this old man says that the dragons are not the playthings for the games of men.
They literally are, though.
That is all they are. That's all they've ever been. Sir.
Yeah.
You're too old to not know that. Get out of here. Which he does in fact do. He does in fact get out of here.
He listens to you on that one.
So Rhaenyra doesn't let this slow her stride though, and this is when she gives the big speech to all the small folk that are gathered and tells them that this is, a chance for glory. We got 2 dragons. We got a whole bunch of y'all. Not everybody's going to make it, but the ones that do, well, boy, will you have a story to tell.
I guess.
And she goes over and calls, what is this dragon? Vermithor?
That sounds right. But you know how bad I am with names. I'm just trusting you on this. Really.
The name is right. It's whether I'm pronouncing it correctly is what is the question.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I feel like I'm dropping a syllable, like it should be 4 syllables, but
Vermithor. It's not. I just no.
Oh,
I'm just saying what it sounds to you like it should be. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, it does. It feels like I'm dropping something. But she walks around, and if I am not mistaken, Jace is not with her.
No, he is not.
Baela is, and Adam is. Her Queen's Guard is there, and some other people from her court. But Jace is not here for this, which is he's somewhere being a salty bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Jace.
So we got our first guy who comes forward. He's got a real sort of odd, smushed face.
Yeah, something has happened.
Yeah.
There has been an incident of some kind. I don't know if it's someone that maybe we saw in an early episode get trampled or something. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that this is just this guy's face.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But he is the first to step forward after everybody is just looking around because she says who's going first, and nobody wants to do it. Nobody, in my opinion, in this scene is scared enough.
Yeah.
I just, come on now.
I want to mention that after she gives the speech and this guy walks forward, volunteers, she's like, I've already told you everything I've got. I got no other information for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all just leave. Her and her whole court just leave.
She just, she goes to another area to watch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it just really very much was I'm just getting out of the line of fire. Don't mind me.
Oh yeah.
And I get it, but Jesus Christ.
They shut them doors behind them, and she keeps a couple guards at the door because when shit goes left and they start trying to run out, the guards are kind of keeping them down there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
The guards block the way, and I didn't know that was part of the deal. And that doesn't seem right to me.
It feels a little you told us that our lives could possibly be on the line if we're willing to do this. But you didn't tell us that if we decided to say no, that we would not be able to get out.
Exactly.
But
I don't feel like that was cool. I don't like it.
Yeah. Maybe that's implied. This is a, everybody can walk in, but only 2 will walk out kind of deal. But I don't feel like she made that explicitly clear.
No.
And yeah, she's like, all right, good luck. And They shut them doors.
This dragon coming out of the darkness is so
amazing. It's so good.
It's
so good. Oh,
it
man.
It is very intimidating.
Yeah. And she just calls him too. She's just like, come here. And he just comes here. I don't know why the dragon's acting like,
pet dogs.
Pets. Yeah, dogs. Though they were giving a lot of cat energy in this episode, in my opinion.
True.
Way more than like puppy energy. But with the slow blinks, the boops.
Poops.
But yeah, so I'm trying to get to the part where he comes up and it's just this little guy facing this dragon. It does not go well. And then like a bunch of other people just standing close by, catch strays.
Yep, they all get lit up.
And then it's not like with Darkland where it's just like he burns one guy and then is like done.
No.
This is a bit of a rampage. This is a little mini smorgasbord. And I don't know if it's because this is the second time that Rhaenyra has brought these people in front, woken him up from a nap for this bullshit. So, like, you know what I mean?
Really like that idea.
It feels a little bit like he's
just like, all right, look, I'm going to let you know.
Right? Like,
no.
We're not going to keep doing this.
I was napping.
Yeah, it feels very, very pointed.
Oh, God, that's funny.
So, it goes awry in spectacular fashion. And I felt so bad for all of these small folk who were just like coming to shoot their shot.
Yep.
And like most of them, nobody else even gets a chance to see if maybe they could have been one,
No.
Like he's just flaming them up indiscriminately. And it is terrifying, you guys.
It's so terrifying.
It's terrifying.
I said in the beginning that this was like a horror movie, and it like full on is. There's a part where we're hiding behind a massive stone, like the fucking scene in Jurassic Park when they're in the kitchen and they're hiding behind one of those like stainless steel tables. Do you remember that part?
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
It's the raptors, and the raptors are just pacing around as the kids look at each other like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. And yeah, it was full on Jurassic Park scenario. These are basically fire breathing dinosaurs. So I guess it's completely valid, and
it is just carnage. It is. Everybody is on fire. He's eating people, like literally gobbling people up.
Yep.
And we see Rhaenyra watching from her little balcony and just looking at all the destruction. And it's a real, like, what have I done kind of moment. But she doesn't, like, leave because one of her guard is like, we've got to go. And she's like, no. And she, like, stays to watch the whole thing. And I don't know if she's watching and still has hope. Like, I'm going to stick this out until it's done because maybe there's going to be one. Or if it's, I have to stand here and watch this because I did this.
I think it's that. But that's just my personal interpretation of it. Like, she is somebody who it seems to me we're portraying as like always taking full responsibility for things. And I felt like this was her just being like, if I'm going to put them in this position, the least I can do is actually see the result.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just fucking mayhem. Everybody is running, screaming. Hugh is along with everybody else running, screaming, ducking and dodging. And eventually he encounters this woman. And at one point she's like in direct line of fire and Hugh runs over and is like, here I am. Meanwhile, Ulf has gotten knocked over the platform and like fallen down deeper into the pit and feels like he's safe. And he's just kind of walking around with a torch and it looks like he's out my brain wants to say out of the line of fire, but that's like too on the nose.
No, it's on the mouth. It's out of the mouth. It comes.
But so Hugh does the thing, take me, I'm right here. Here I am. He gets all like aggro.
Mm-hmm.
Just, fucking just,
come on.
And then next thing you know, he got a dragon.
He do.
Because this dragon is looking at him like, oh, word?
It's like that.
Okay. I'm yelling at you, and then you're yelling back at me.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever yells back at me.
That really is the energy, and I love it. As somebody who also needs a person that is adequate, like in terms of an argument, to enjoy being around them.
Mm-hmm,
yes,
mm-hmm.
I get it. Sometimes you just need somebody who is going to like call you on your shit.
Yep,
that's legit.
And then and it just goes from like all of this like insane crazy energy and destruction to like this calmness, and they're both just like staring at each other, and it's so goddamn tense.
Yeah.
And I like it's funny because like I knew but like I didn't know. And so they get really really close. Like he's like the muzzle, the mouth area
snout?
of the dragon, the snout. Yeah, snout will do. That'll do. The snout is like right in his face, and Hugh walks over to it and is able to put his hand on it the way Rhaenyra had done.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this look between the two of them, which is a weird thing to say, like between this man and this dragon, and this like smirk kind of on Hugh's face, which you can barely see because of the beard and mustache. And Rhaenyra is on her balcony and she sees it, and she's just like this, like kind of like, oh my God, kind of thing. And we cut immediately to Ulf, who is running for his life.
Ulf is not interested.
He didn't even want to fucking be here.
No, he did
right?
not. Under protest did this man arrive.
And he steps into a egg hatch. It's got all this goo on his boot, and he's just like, dude, the fuck is this? Like, what is happening here? How did I get here? And then I'm so sorry, y'all. This reveal of the dragon being right behind him and the face he makes, it is so fucking good. It was like the most realistic, I think, dragon person encounter that I've seen depicted on the show thus far. It is like the terror on his face when and then like he doesn't want to turn around.
Yeah.
He knows it's there,
mm-hmm.
but does not want to turn around. And he does this thing where he closes his eyes and it's just like, oh, fucking hell. And does this slow turn. And his
lip is trembling.
Listen,
like, this man is about to just burst into tears.
It is so good. It's so good. And he just stands there and it's just, and the fucking thing gives him a boop. And just a little nose boop. Like 2 or 3 times. And fucking all I can think is just being like, why don't you just light me on fire and get this over with?
Very much.
Like, what are you doing?
You don't need to play with your food.
Like,
come
right?
on.
And he lies down on his back and he has his hands kind of up and he is just...
You say he lies down on his back like that dragon knocked him flat on his ass is what happened.
That's true. He does
into a puddle of some unknowable substance that I just have to assume is dragon piss.
You're
which
right.
Must
you're
smell
right.
crazy.
He gets knocked over. Oh, I didn't even think about the water, like the liquid that was down there. I just assumed it was a fucking puddle. But now the idea that it's dragon piss is just like, oh, the disrespect.
Right.
And he is lying there staring his death in the face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he is staring his imminent demise is like, and it just is like, hey, how are you doing? My name's Silverwing. Nice to meet you. It's just like, it's so different from the way that Hughes is done.
Yeah.
Which is really great because you don't want to see that, right?
It's same like, exact thing again.
You know?
Yeah.
And okay, so Adam's like being chased by sea smoke was like kind of like a thing where it was the dragon like claiming the rider, and then we have Hugh like facing off against his dragon.
Yeah.
And then Ulf's thing is a little bit more similar to Adam's. But it's just a very, very different energy because I don't know exactly how to explain why it's so different, but just the way that this actor plays it. And then the laughter when he realizes that he's not about to die is just, it was so good, you guys. I just enjoyed it so much. I really honestly did. It was so good.
It takes a surprisingly long time for him to like open his eyes and look up and realize he's not going to die. He is really just laying there about to let it happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was very, very satisfying. I enjoyed all of that. And then we cut to a green small council meeting with just Laris and Jasper and Aemon. And they're talking about, I don't even know the fuck they're talking about. There's some problem with the High Tower host making its way to King's Landing because the Beesberries are about that action. And
it's not the Beesberries, it's Beesbury.
Well, but it's all of them. So I mean plural. They're the Beesberries. Because it's more than one.
Touche.
And they're trying to have this conversation, and there's all this chatter outside. People starting to it gets louder and louder, and people are starting to scream, dragon, and like freaking out. And finally, Aemon goes outside to see what's up, and he sees a dragon, and then just bolts without thinking, without consulting anybody. Like, I guess he doesn't have, who's he going to consult?
I was about to say, yeah.
You know, but like just runs out, and then it cuts to fucking Ulf on his, like, I'm like, why the fuck are you at King's Landing, Ulf? Why are you at King's Landing?
Because
this is a real question.
What are you supposed to do when your friends make you do a thing that you didn't even want in the first place?
So he's showing off.
Very much so. Are you high? If you think I get a dragon and the first thing I do is not go rub it in everybody I used to know's faces that I now have a dragon, you are on a different planet.
They can't even see who's riding it.
He doesn't know how low he can get. Shorty got low.
He is out here having the time of his life. It's so fucking funny, you guys. I didn't think, like, Ulf, the character, is so like weird when we first meet him in the tavern, and kind of off-putting that I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed post-Dragon Ulf. Like, I really was just really, really surprised by it. He is having a time on this dragon.
Yeah. It's really giving like Disney movie.
It honestly is.
How to Train Your Dragon kind of vibes.
It is pure joy. Like, he cannot even believe it. Like, yeah. Aemon goes rushing to Vhagar. Vhagar also trying to nap. Now you waking me up for this bullshit, and then you won't even let me fight nobody.
I just want to take a moment here. Aemon getting on that horse in one motion. Did you notice how smooth that was?
I did not even give it the time of day.
Go back and just watch it. It is like he levitated. It's remarkable. Right. This is a dude who clearly practiced a lot. Like, either personally has horses and you know, or for this role, I don't know. But it is clear this is a man who knows horses here. It's just instantly, like, from the ground, he is in the saddle, boom, done, gone. Did you find it?
It's coming up any second now. I tried to fast forward to it, and I kept overshooting.
You gotta just do those, like, back 10 seconds little arrows.
Yeah.
Although, if you're watching on HBO, I don't know if you have that. I do it on Prime.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, here it is. Oh, see, nope, went too far. Here it is. Perfect. Oh, okay. He does like a little barrel roll to get up there and
it's
on
like
there.
A slide. Like, yeah, it is really smooth.
And then he's off.
He is off. Off for Ulf. He looks so mad.
He is furious. And he jumps up on Vhagar and is right on the tail. And so my first thought was, well, he just wants to see who the rider is and who the dragon is, right? He's not trying to be about that action. But see, Vhagar is always about that action. So the minute you hop on her, you also better be about it.
Yeah.
And
I also think the assumption is they're circling above King's Landing. They want a fight. That's why they're here. You know?
And he's been waiting for the moment, waiting for an opportunity. And then they get to Dragonstone, and he then turns around and is like, has to flee because he realizes there's a lot more waiting for him.
Yep.
There. And that's not even everybody.
Nope.
This is, let me see, who's all here? Are you at this scene? Because I'm not sure who everybody is.
I'm looking at Rhaenyra in her red dress with her smoky face.
Okay.
She has, this is Hugh on Vermithor's the gold one? Or is he the red one?
They call him the bronze something.
Oh, right. Yeah, she said that. I forgot. Okay, so that's got to be him. And then the one in the air, I think, is Sea Smoke that has Adam on it. And then the red one is Ulf? Or is that her?
Yeah,
no, that's Ulf, right? I'm not sure who all we got here.
I honestly can't tell. The people are like so tiny on Dragonback. I can't tell. And I didn't know if that was Sea Smoke at top or if that was Silverwing Landing.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It is. Yeah, this is
but whomst ever it is.
Well said.
So now let's do a quick dragon count. So Team Black there's Rhaenyra Dragon, who is Syrax, maybe? I don't know. Daemon.
Rashawn.
I'm not even worried about the names, just the count is where
I just really want you to know, as you do this count, I'm going to believe whatever you tell me.
Oh. All right, well, I'm doing a count anyway.
Do it.
Just to see where I am. So Rhaenyra's got a dragon. Daemon's got a dragon. Jace has got a dragon. Bella's got a dragon. That's 4. Then we have Sea Smoke back in the lineup. Vermithor and Silverwing. So that's 7 dragons for Team Black. At least. I think.
That's a lot.
Right?
We'll say 6, really, right now. Daemon.
Fair. But okay. No. I'm still counting them. Still counting them.
Okay.
And then the Greens have Vhagar, Helena's dragon, and the kid we haven't met, Darien's dragon, who they named in this episode. They talked about him. I think his name was Tessarion or some shit like that, who is just about ready to be ridden. And that's all I can think of for the Greens are those three. I feel like I've got to be missing like 4 dragons for them, but I can't figure out like who am I forgetting. They really just have 3 dragons.
That sounds right to me.
So then
she just gained 3 riders. Like, yeah, it makes sense that she'd be so far ahead.
So I don't understand how this war even becomes a war at this point when they're so outmatched. So what I'm wondering is what goes terribly wrong. You know, is it just that? I mean, she's gained 3 dragons, and they're older dragons. Well, maybe not Sea Smoke, but I'm assuming Vermithor is. And also, we find out it's the second largest dragon after Vhagar. I don't know about Silverwing. I don't know if it's big or didn't look very big, or how old or young it is. But maybe the fact that they're inexperienced riders means that having them is great, but once they're when it's time to fight, they go down really easily. I'm just trying, like to me, the war, it's a wrap. The warship, it's a wrap right now, but it's not, because we get a season 3, and so something must go terribly, terribly wrong, and it's going to mean that all these lovely dragons that I just met, I get to watch them all die. So I'm feeling lots of feelings. Is all I'm saying. I'm feeling lots of feelings. It was really satisfying to see Aemon turn his ass around, though. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
You know, it was just satisfying. It's not like he got actually defeated or anything significant. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying it was nice to see a look on his face for a second, being like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I bit off more than I could chew here.
Right? Because he's been sauntering around lately. He is a saunterer.
You are dead right. Sauntering motherfucker.
So it was very satisfying to see him have to be like, nah, okay, maybe now is not the right time. All in all, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun when it needed to be. I thought that it was horrifying when it needed to be. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Good. I'm really curious because, like, I think I know what we're getting for the final episode, but I'm not positive. So I'm really, really curious, like, what it's going to look like. What's the word I want? The rhythm of the story. I have not had a great grasp of, because there have been things that I thought would take a lot longer, and then there are things that I thought we'd have gotten to by now. And so I am sort of, what's the word I want? I feel like a little bit, what is it? What do you call it when your footing is off?
When you're not, I know when you're not sure-footed, when you are, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying, though.
I do. I like, you're not, all I can think of is to say that you're not sure-footed. I can't come up with the word. There we go.
Wrong-footed is the one I want. So yeah, I think I know what we're getting for our finale, but I may be ahead of where they want to be. I don't know. I have no idea what we're going to get for the finale. I have no idea. I can just say that I need, like, the meme that you talked about really is so dead on, and I can't take another moment like that. Of her looking like she's going to do something and then fucking not doing anything.
And then it cuts to black and we have to wait 2 years for the next season. Like, I need her to do some things. Even if those things result in consequences, right?
I mean, They will.
You're right, but like I need us to like do something.
Gotcha.
And she's well positioned now to try something. I need her to get like, she got to win with these riders, but we still haven't really gotten a lick back for Rhaenys.
Mm-hmm.
I need the Greens to suffer an indignity of some sort. I need them to suffer a loss of some sort. But, and I don't even really care what it looks like. I just feel like there needs to be an answer for Rhaenys, quite frankly, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then I imagine the third season will be the rest of the war and the actual finishing of all the dragons and watching them all go down one by one. But I want them to land this finale in a way that feels like gets me hype for the next season.
But not too hype because it's going to be 2 years.
Yeah, there's that. There's that. And when it comes back in 2 years, I want the war crimes I was promised. That's the main thing. I feel like we all got sort of blue-balled on that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am ready for war. I'm ready for it to be like, yes, we're fucking at war and we're going to behave like we are at war. We're not just going to be glaring at people. You know, as beautiful as her face is, or as their face is, and we're near her, Emma, there. I'm tired of it just being a face that's glaring.
Yeah.
I need you to start cussing motherfuckers out, telling them to respect your name, and acting accordingly.
Fully agree. Yeah. Enough already.
Yeah.
In summary. All right. Enough already of this. All right. Well, God, I can't believe we only have one more episode. Then we go back to the book. It's going to be weird.
I can't believe that we thought we were moving right along with the summarizing and we still clocked 2:30.
Did we really?
We sure did.
My God in heaven.
Imagine if we didn't summarize.
No. Lately, even on my spoil me's, I would like to remind everyone, for those, I'm alone. I'm doing an hour, 20 minutes. Regularly. Alone. That's something's wrong with me. Sometimes I stop and think about that. Is that normal that when you have no other person involved, you can still make conversation for an hour and a half? Is that... I don't know. But anyway, yeah, this is insane. We just, I sure hope everybody's enjoying it, because kids, we're going to have to figure out a way to not do this next season. So enjoy while you can. All right, everybody. With that in mind, we both have got to go. I am so hungry. I'm so hungry. Oh my God. For once, I don't have to pee, though.
Hey!
That's something. It probably means that I'm deeply dehydrated.
That's
probably what that is.
You're not just hungry, you're also dehydrated.
Yay! All right, everybody. Thank you again so much for joining us. We appreciate you all. If you want to support us, go to patreon.com/unspoiled and become a patron at whatever level you feel comfortable with. And I shared the design for the $10 and up postcard that's going to be going out. And I'm a happy little dumpster. I feel like that actually sounds filthy out of context. But if you look at what I designed, you'll see what I mean. Anyway, thank you all again. Until next time, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye, guys.
was an Unspoiled Network podcast.